Today I come to you with the belief, concept, and notion that the internet is the tool that our Father has chosen to fulfill Scripture, Luke chapter 8 and verse 17. For nothing is secret, that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid, that shall not be known and come abroad. Hi folks, I hope this video is finding you with a smile fetching from ear to ear, beaming a warm simper while holding steadfast the word of the only living God, known to us as Yahweh. And today I want to speak to the earlier verse that we read, again, for nothing is secret, that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid, that shall not be known and come abroad. My friends, manifest means understood, and abroad means reaching all points, so we could very easily read that verse this way. For nothing is secret, that shall not be understood, neither anything hid, that shall not be known at all points. Folks, Matthew had this to contribute also concerning the same, Matthew chapter 10 and verse 26. Fear them not therefore, for there is nothing covered, that shall not be revealed, and hid, that shall not be known. My friends, each of these verses have a similar theme, tone, and flavor, which is something hidden being uncovered, and something secret that will be made known, and I ask you, what is a veil and what does a veil do? Well, for those of you always 2 steps ahead of me, you're right, a veil covers things, and to that degree, I'd like to try and integrate the thought of a veil's capacity, while keeping the 2 aforementioned verses in mind. Before the internet, was it not wondered by those studying the Bible, how things that were hidden, would be revealed, or things that were covered, how they would come to see the light of day? I say yes, and folks, I am sure there were those out there asking, how will these things come to pass, and be? My friends, it was late fall or early winter of 2008 when I began asking that question, and I remember it was at night, after listening to a message by an end-day watchman here on YouTube, and his sermon reached the core of my being, as I became tearful and was rattled. Folks, I'm not ashamed to say that it was that devotional conduction that forced me to my knees, and I was in tears, sobbing like one that had just lost someone near and dear to them. Folks, I felt desperately bereaved, just as one would feel whom had lost a loved one. I was scared and felt a sentiment of desperation, as his message spoke to the second coming of the Christ, and those who will be considered lost, yea, the masses hellbound and bent for end-of-age destruction, everlasting desolation, and eternal despair. My friends, earlier I questioned how things would be made known, that were unknown, or those things hidden, how they would be revealed. I mean, how could we go from being in the dark, so to speak, to all of a sudden knowing all things, as in how could the said same conduction, consistency, and conveyance, come to be known, as prior to certain remedy, it remained hidden for so long? Folks, for those of you that know me, I look at those things that were unseen, shrouded and undiscovered as if they were being concealed under a veil, and veils are spoken to in the book. And did you know that Moses, for a time, wore a veil to cover his face? Yes, my so beloved adjacents here, it was at the time that he returned to the children of God, after being in the presence of the Almighty, on Mount Sinai, where he was given the 10 Commandments, written by the finger of our aforementioned pater familiar, spoken to in Deuteronomy chapter 9 and verses 9 through 11. When I was gone up into the mount to receive the tables of stone, even the tables of the covenant which the Lord made with you, then I abode in the mount 40 days and 40 nights, I neither did eat bread nor drink water, and the Lord delivered unto me 2 tables of stone written with the finger of God, and on them was written according to all the words, which the Lord spake with you in the mount out of the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly. And it came to pass at the end of 40 days and 40 nights, that the Lord gave me the 2 tables of stone, even the tables of the covenant. Yes, my friends, the 10 Commandments was a covenant, or a binding agreement between our Father and his children, after they were freed, by him, from Egypt. So where are we told that Moses, upon returning to the people, wore a veil, and why? Folks, in a nutshell, Moses went up Mount Sinai to speak with God, and when he came down the mountain, his face was brilliant, literally shining. In fact, it was so dazzling that when the Israelites saw it, they were so terrified that Moses had to veil his face. Exodus chapter 34 and verse 35. And the children of Israel saw the face of Moses, that the skin of Moses' face shone, and Moses put the veil upon his face again, until he went in to speak with him. As we can see here, a veil covered the face of Moses as not to reveal his bright countenance. Here another veil, or curtain, is spoken to, and did you know that when Jesus was risen from the grave, by God Almighty, 3 days after giving up the ghost, or after his death on the cross, he was not the only one miraculously given life anew, being brought back from the grave, as told to us in Matthew chapter 27 and verses 51 through 53. And, behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose, and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many. Can you imagine that, folks? People whom were saints, known prior to their deaths by others, yea, that verse says that those saints whom were dead arose from the grave and went to Jerusalem, being the holy city of our Father, and the book says that those saints were seen by many, and I ask you, was that supernatural occurrence not certain might and majesty? Folks, the tearing of the veil signified that Christ, by his death, opened a way to God, which is not found by being members of these so-called 501c3 outfits. In other words, we have an open way through Christ to the throne of grace, or mercy seat now, and to the throne of glory hereafter. My friends, the veil of the temple, which was a curtain, separated the second room, in that temple of God, called Hikkel, and was referred to and considered the holy place, while the veil was between that room, and the third room, which was called Dever, called and considered the most holy place, yea, the Holy of Holies, where only the high priest was allowed to enter, where the Ark of the Covenant was located, and folks, in that Ark the 10 Commandments were stored, and with the 10 Commandments, being a covenant between God and his children, that divine box decorated was called the vessel, or the Ark of the Covenant. Returning to how things would be known, exposed, and revealed by God, in the end days, the same place where we find ourselves this very day, does the Bible share with us how that will come about? I ask you, will the children of God assist in that revealing? 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 5. Ye are all the children of light, and the children of the day, we are not of the night, nor of darkness. Folks, will we, as children of God, spoken to as children of the light, will we help to usher in end-day truths and revelations? Yes, I do believe we will, and talking about end days, this is what Jesus said concerning Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. My friends, Jesus said, and ye shall hear. Does that mean that in the last time someone will walk up to your door and give you a report of wars going on and about future wars to come, or maybe someone will stand on the street corner professing the same, as for you to hear? I think not. Nay, and here is a hint to how things that are hidden will be revealed, if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, that is, and Jesus himself tells us how, and I quote, and ye shall hear. I ask you, folks, will we hear of these wars by word of mouth as in our neighbors telling us? I say nay, but by way of technology broadcasting that said same information, reaching all points, folks besides me, who does not have a cell phone today, which contacts folks through what is called alerts, or notifications, which we know is great knowledge at our disposal, hinted at in the book of Daniel, in Daniel chapter 12 and verse 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words, and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. My friends, is 8 billion people running to and fro in earth? Isn't that considered many people? Well, if my math is correct, it certainly is many, and as stated, with the computer, knowledge certainly has increased, just like the Bible said that it would. Knowledge shall be increased, I mean between the computer and cell phones, which we know are handheld computers in their own right. Yea, I'm here to say that by way of the internet the veil has been lifted, and we know all things, and because we Are the children of God, we are further gifted and assisted, whereas others are not, and here that gift is spoken to, folks. We have certain unction sent from on high, as we read in part, in 1 John chapter 2 and verse 20. But ye have an unction from the Holy One, and ye know all things. My friends, simply put, in general, everything known to mankind can be brought up on a screen, with a few keystrokes, and in 1970, who would have thunk it, and if the good eye were used, we can clearly see that the majority of things hidden, or beyond our purview, were revealed by way of the internet, as that is where we learned of so many things that without the internet, those things would have either remained hidden, or the same would have been beyond our reach. And here is an example, my friends. Did you know that many American companies not only supported but assisted Hitler's war efforts? Yes folks, many American companies greatly assisted Hitler in World War II. My friends, that war killed 416,800 American military personnel, and due to treasonous and traitorous American companies, I lost 2 uncles in that war, at Normandy, as well. Between 70 and 85 million people in total died as the result of that culling, oops, I meant war, and of that 70 to 85 million dead, more than half were civilians, and call it my being naive, but I thought civilians, especially women and children, were off limits when it came to war. Folks, it just ain't right. What else has the internet shared with us? How about the combined income of the top 50 richest congressmen and women, in the United States of Santana? That total well exceeds $3 billion, which is more money than some countries have in their treasuries. Yes folks, internet technology surely has made knowledge to increase, and in closing, yes, through the internet the veil has been lifted, and we are so blessed to be living today, yea, to be witnesses of the same. And on that note, be well, stay strong, and I thank you so much for listening, my friends.